Hi, and welcome to AI and C# weekly summary for week of 48, 2025. In terms of news, as we start, it was a fairly low news week. The only thing that was really happening was Anthropic releasing their Opus 4.5 in terms of new models. But also in terms of the agreement between Microsoft and Anthropic on the Microsoft Foundry. They also released a new NuGet package, which Microsoft Agent Framework have now adopted, so that's really, really nice. One thing I haven't checked out yet, but I have my eyes on, is something called Thara 7B, which is a new small language model from Microsoft that should be good at making computer use happening. Again, haven't tried it yet, but I think it will become a video if it's easy to get your hands on. But else, nothing much happened this week. Ignite was last week. Gemini 3 was last week. It's hard to compare. In terms of new releases, Agent Framework have had one new release, 25.11.25. And they primarily use that to switch to the official Anthropic NuGet package now. And internally they upgraded all their code to .NET 10, which makes it easier for them to work. Other than that, there was not too much. There's one new thing about the get new thread that can take an overload for the chat message store. I want to have a look at that at some point, but else it was mostly fixes and stuff. In terms of the Agent Framework toolkit from my side, I have had 4 releases and have primarily added the OpenRouter support. I have added GitHub model support. I have also switched to the official Anthropic NuGet, so there's a small breaking change there. Everything now has XML summaries, so everything is documented. And beyond that, small things like giving you constants for the various chat models, bumped up to the new version. In general, you will expect that every time Agent Framework release a version, I will release a version with either new features or just the bumped version, so you are compatible. But else it was a very, very small issues and spelling errors and a few breaking changes, so we have a better thing. The biggest breaking change was that the parameter deployment model name is changed to model, just to keep it more simple. But that will affect everyone using it, but it should be a fairly simple change of parameter name. In terms of videos this week, I'm trying a new upload schedule where I will release a video every Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. UTC. So that means that will be 5 videos every week plus the summary video with Saturday off. So in terms of videos this week, we had the video about Tune, which is a new format that can help you save a lot of tokens. Compared to JSON, it's a very dense format, so very cool. I also released a video about how to make your own MCP server. I released a video about how to connect in all the different ways you can do to Agent Framework. So I showed 15 different ways for those who still think that it's only OpenAI they work with. They work with literally everything. Then we went back to the end-to-end example with part 2, where we helped the comic book guy from The Simpsons make his website. And then this part 2, there was a bunch of things about how to deploy your models. So even if you don't follow the sample, but are interested in figuring out how to deploy AI agents out into Azure, then definitely go see that video. And the 5th video was a kind of backup video about Onyx models, which could have been put in as a 16th model up here, but Onyx models is these files on your machine that you can run as an AI if need be. I hadn't intended to make that video, but the video I'm releasing on Monday was actually the one I wanted to do, but because there was some problems with that video at that time, we ended up with an Onyx model video instead. But look forward to the one on Monday. It has some really cool features as well. In terms of your comments and questions and so on, there was a comment about how reliable Agent Framework actually is, and despite it being in preview, I found it quite reliable working. I have it in production myself, but in general, since it is pre-release and they first expect it to go out of preview in Q1 next year, then of course, depending on who you are, you might not want to go live with it yet. I have no problems doing that and having those few breaking changes here and there. Another question was about one of my live sampled videos where it showed about how I did dependency injection, and a keen observer here saw that I used both Azure OpenAI and OpenAI at the same time, and wondered why that was even needed. And it's only needed for our case because we want to have a high token count, like 200,000 plus tokens a minute. And Azure OpenAI is pretty sparse about giving us enough token that we want, unfortunately, despite asking for more tokens all the time. So that's the only reason why we also have OpenAI, because they give more tokens, but not as good a service level as Azure OpenAI. But that was the reason why we had that. Then there was a video about the MCP servers, and someone here comments about MCP inspectors inside Postman and tools like that, and ask if I have tried them. And I should actually have shown them. I showed various things to consume a MCP server in Visual Studio Code and in ChatGPT and in Visual Studio and so on. But yes, Postman, which is this tool for testing HTTP calls and stuff, also have MCP inspectors now, which is really cool. I personally use something called Insomnia, which is similar to Postman. But in general, it's actually a good way of testing your MCPs. So very grateful for this comment as well. Then just this comment, nice comment to get, but the most important was that it sounded like more advanced stuff is what people want, because I found personally this video about ATUI and the advanced stuff a little bit dry, but it seems like it's one of the more popular videos, so it seems like you want to go a bit more advanced in terms of features, so I will take that into account. So that's the reason why I highlighted this here. But in general, I can see you really liking the videos, and I'm very, very grateful for that. That's what keeps me going in order to do this. And also that the new weekly summary here is a good format, so I will keep them going as well. We're also soon coming up on the next live stream. I will post schedules about them in a week's time or so. But that was everything for this week. See you in the next one.